Due to suggestive adult themes and dialogue, this podcast is intended for adults. In other words, the truth is ugly, so we get ugly right along with it. Everything we say is out of love for ourselves, our people, and our community. Sincerely, the Green Route Podcast.
And stop the damn dancing! Act like you got some goddamn sense, people!
Black people don't hope, we wish. We wish a motherfucker would be in our shit.
As far as I'm concerned, they could burn this bitch to the ground. And it still wouldn't be enough. And they are lucky that what black people are looking for is equality and not revenge.
Want to welcome y'all to the Green Route Podcast, episode number 30. So our podcast is now officially 30.
That's crazy.
So now it's getting good sleep now. It's trying to get some good sleep.
Yes, it ain't worried about that little shit no more. It ain't staying out too late. It
ain't staying out too late no more. Our podcast is, it's a little more, it's a tad bit more responsible. Just a little bit more responsible. It's still making 20-year-old mistakes. But
it's thinking about buying a house now.
It's considering, yes. It's, thinking things a little more seriously. Yep. You know what I'm saying? So that's where we at right now.
What's your name?
I go by GS.
Okay, and I'm Marlissa. Sorry we didn't introduce ourselves, y'all. We were excited about our podcast, Coming of Age.
Yes, we were excited about that. So I want to welcome y'all to the Green Route Podcast. Thank y'all for tuning in, tapping in. And we going to jump right into it after I pass my partner.
Oh, the hookah.
Yeah, we got a new one.
Look, we coming up in the world. I'm just saying.
We just trying to come up, y'all.
I'm thinking about buying my dogs like some gold chain collars. You know what I mean? As I climb. As should they.
As they
better
should.
Food, better bitch. No,
better bitches. I mean, it's a female dog. You have male dogs. You want,
I was pretty proud of myself with that joke. I thought it landed. I thought it was good.
You know what I'm saying? You got to commit to it, though.
Yeah, you gotta follow through. You're right. All right, so we jumping in. Man, first thing on the list, Southwest Airlines and the fuckery that's going on over there.
So Southwest Airlines, of course, the first thing that I thought about was how much are the CEOs getting paid? That was the number one thing that came to my mind. How much did they make? And I think it said that they made made $9 million the year before.
Yep. That was after, I think, a 9% raise.
After a 9% raise. Yeah. So one article I read, and this is an opinion article, but they were saying that, of course, just like most company corporate interests, instead of actually using the money to prepare themselves for things like this, they chose to spend it in other ways. Like I think it's just one of those things where it's like, I mean, it's exactly that. Imagine giving your leader, your boss, the head person, a pay raise, and then while he's on watch that same year, everything goes to shit.
And you're 100% right. So that opinion article, I'm not sure which one it was, but like anyone who's worked in corporate knew what happened, because this happens all over corporate America, where a lot of the money, the revenue and the profit goes into stock buybacks. It goes to executive salaries, executive bonuses, and they miss the critical infrastructure investment. And that is expensive. This is capital investment. But the beauty of being in corporate America is that capital investment is what gets you the ROI. So for AT&T, you lay fiber in the ground in different neighborhoods, and then you go market to those customers and say, hey, get on my network, and that's how you make your money back from the cost of laying fibers. Well, Southwest decided, and this is after the unions and the employees was like, yo, this dinosaur system is going to fail. We promise you. The unions have been saying this for years to the executives. And instead of upgrading or replacing the dinosaur system, they kept it in place. And it was like literally a perfect storm for this system to fail because of the way it works. Like, so I did a quick explainer, and I'll explain it here on the podcast. So the way it goes down, so Southwest, of course, was impacted by the storm. Everybody was impacted by Winter Storm Elliott. But the reason Southwest was worse off than other airlines, it was for two reasons, really. Number one is because they have a point-to-point system rather than a hub. So point-to-point means we fly from Dallas to Atlanta, then we're going to Nashville to Charlotte, back to Dallas. Most airlines, like Delta,
cycle, kind of like a cycle.
It's like a circle, right? Most airlines will do, say Delta, their hub is Atlanta. They'll do Dallas to Atlanta, and then they'll go Atlanta to Charlotte, back to Atlanta, and then they'll go Atlanta to Denver, back to Atlanta. So that means that like they know where their crews are and where their planes are at all times, and if if there's one delay, it doesn't fuck up the whole system. But because of all the cancellations and the delays, like if the plane doesn't take off, that means the crew and the plane that was supposed to be in that next city never gets there, and there's no one to get those people. That also means that you're missing a crew and a plane for an already scheduled flight. So once that shit started snowballing, like it was crazy. The other thing, and the second part that happened here, is that the crew, the pilots and the what do you call them, flight attendants, they have to call into a scheduling group to become aware of the changes in their schedule.
They have to call into one.
They have to call in. So, you know, everything was shitty, right? So it's not like everything is like updating automatically, because they literally have had all of these cancellations and delays. So crew members are calling into the scheduling group. Well, you got staffing shortages just like every other airline, and you got a shit ton of free crew members all of a sudden because of how many cancellations they had. So I'm hearing that crew members were on the phone for 2.5 hours at some point. So much so that by the time they got a schedule update, they had already timed out for the allotted amount of time that airline workers, specifically if you're flying a plane or an attendant, like you have caps because of, you know, you could be exhausted, a plane could crash, right? We can't have that. So you had these caps. So they were like timing out for the allotted amount of time they're able to work. The whole shit came burning down. And I was so glad, because at first Southwest came out and was like, oh, it's the storm. But then everybody, like the American public was like, well, was there a personal storm for Southwest? Because everybody is dealing with this storm.
Because truth be told, statistically speaking, 90%
there you go.
of the canceled flights were Southwest.
There you go. So people started looking like, some don't seem right. And then the CEO finally came out and was like, no, y'all right. We should have made some critical investments years ago that we didn't. He said, we've been discussing it though. We've been talking about making these updates.
That sound good.
But you know how much they spent on stock buybacks?
How much?
Tens of billions of dollars of COVID money they used for stock buybacks instead of upgrading their systems, paying their people more. And if you haven't been paying attention, Southwest has been like having a lot of strikes here in Dallas. Their headquarters is here in Dallas. Pilots have been striking. Their crew members have been striking. In Denver, they had like a walk-off of the ramp agents because of this letter a VP sent that was like, yeah, you ain't getting no more PTO, and if you don't have a doctor's note, you can't have any sick time, and also we're on mandatory overtime. Dead ass. So we talk about unions and why unions are important. This is probably a prime example, I think, in 2022 of why bargaining power amongst employees, specifically like working level on the ground employees, is important, because he shouldn't have even ever been able to send that letter to them. Had a strong union been in place, he would have never sent a letter like that. I mean,
mandatory overtime just sounds like slavery, just modern day slavery. Like, you don't have a choice, but you have to work. That point-to-point system should have been fixed. A lot of shit should have been fixed.
They do it to save money. We already know what it is.
And they don't count on these things happening. So, honestly, it's just a matter of, with every institution, they're becoming exposed by these outside conditions. And not only, well, it's actually two parts. It's not only outside conditions, but it's the people, if they're able to bring themselves together enough to unionize. So it's just like, why don't you just do right by your workers?
That's right.
Here we are.
They gonna have to pay. I'm telling all my friends, like, save your receipts, everything that you had to pay for because your trip was extended, all those expenses. Not only do they need to reimburse you for your canceled flight, but anything that you had to pay in excess because you were stranded
they
longer.
To pay out a lot. They about to pay out.
And the Department of Transportation just told Southwest, like, you are expected to pay customers for your fuck up, your meltdown. Yeah. But shout out to the other airlines who made a shit ton of money because people were rebooking to get home when their Southwest flights were canceled. So shout out to all the other airlines who were able to scoop up those customers and get them home. But yeah, Southwest may have to pay for those flights too. Those additional flights.
Good. As they should. Any company that participates in stock buybacks, I hope you eventually fall on your face.
$9.3 million, and the best he had to offer was, we've been talking about upgrading that system.
Boy,
that's the best you got.
We got people who miss family. This is
one guy missed a heart transplant because his flight was canceled. I just saw the article today.
Heart transplant? This is life. This is literally life and death.
Because the flight was canceled. It's crazy.
All right, so if you didn't know, George Santos is a New York congressman who was just recently voted in. He hadn't been sworn in. He hasn't been seated yet.
Yep.
But on his way to that process, a lot of things have come out about him. So he is a rep from New York, and come to find out, he has, from his personal words, embellished. From the words of everyone else, flat out lied.
Fucking lied. Yeah.
Flat out fucking lied. So a few of the lies, let me go through a few of them. One, he said his mom died in 9/11.
That for me, that one took the cake. That one took the cake for me.
Okay, so that's lie. That's lie number one. Lie number two, his grandparents were a part of the Jewish Holocaust. They survived the Jewish
Ukrainian
Holocaust.
Jews.
Yeah, Ukrainian, you know.
He put that in there because he was like, "Ooh, this is good."
This is a spicy topic right now. Ukrainians. So that's another embellishment. He also used to work. He had a long tenure at Goldman Sachs.
Apparently.
Don't
nobody at Goldman Sachs know the man.
No, nobody noticed. Let me see. What?
There was some education stuff in there as well.
It was some educational stuff. He might have Harvard, Columbia, an Ivy League school.
Ivy, yeah.
It's a few more things about him.
They're saying like something to do with his income now. Like, you know, he may have.
Oh, so he donated. He donated a 6-figure amount to his own. Campaign, and being that I want to say maybe it was the year before the prior tax year, he only reported making $50,000 or $60,000, or something like that. So people are like, how the hell did you end up with 6 figures to donate to your own campaign from your company or whatever you own?
Shelters.
So this man is so full of shit. I am not sure why flies ain't following him. We don't know. Somehow he manages to wash himself up just good enough before he's on a press conference. One prop I gotta give props to this. I have never given props to Fox News ever, but I gotta give them props where it's due. Tulsi Gabbard,
yes,
interviewed him.
She was sitting in for
Tucker Carlson.
Tucker Carlson, yep.
And she was on his ass. She wasn't pulling no punches.
And his answers, you could tell he was a deer in headlights.
He was like, well, I think his same perspective. Everyone embellishes. Everyone da-da-da-da. It's like, no.
The Democrats have lied. Joe Biden lies to the American people.
We talking about you. We talking about you right now.
We talking about you, Georgia.
Yeah. First of all, you're on Fox. They already believe that Biden is a liar. All Democrats lie. They already believe that. Yep. So you're trying to. You're saying something that they already know, but someone is outright calling you a liar right here and there. So that's a lot.
Can I say one of my favorite things? Like, and Marjorie Taylor Greene came out on Twitter and was like, you know, the Democrat. This is how they're trying to spin it, right? Like the Democrats lie all day long. You know, you're mad that somebody lied about his resume.
Oh yeah, she came at Tulsi about it.
Crazy.
And Tulsi like she my friend. She not my friend.
We might be friends one day, Tulsi. But she comes out and I'm just like, hold on. Like, you can't be serious. And I responded to her tweet and I was like, this man sat in America's face and said, I never said I was Jewish. I said I was Jew-ish. Bitch, if you don't get out of here, you walking home.
Boy.
You walking home.
Y'all, we talk, man.
And this is because he said he found evidence that some of his mother's family may have been Ukrainian Jews. The same mama you lied and said died in 9/11?
9/11 when there's a tweet of you posting post 9/11 maybe a few years later about her passing away.
Unbelievable.
Yo, this man. But the thing about it is this: the Republican Party. This is what they own. Like, we gotta understand, y'all. We are in the last days of the GOP. We are in the last days of the GOP. They are they're grasping at straws. They're willing to put up. We've seen them put up this guy, this Santos guy. We've seen them put up Herschel Walker. We've seen them put up Dr. Oz. We've seen them put up multiple
brick after brick after brick.
Bullshit candidate after bullshit candidate.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm still trying to wrap my mind around. Well, actually, truth be told, their own constituents are realizing it. Because truth be told, Herschel Walker should have won Georgia. He should have won. He should have won out there. He actually, because they just have more numbers on those outside.
The rural areas.
He should have actually, not easily, but he should have put up a better fight.
Yeah, I mean, for like, I think of Georgia as a baby Texas. Like, you're gonna see the major cities go blue, but those rural areas,
oh yeah, they gonna always be red,
deep red.
So thing is, y'all not even fooling your own constituents. So the thing about it is, again, my prediction. I've said this before. Y'all are your best techniques are violence. Yeah. That's the only thing that's worked for you all. You all
fear mongering.
Y'all have tried to use bullshit candidates, and now y'all have done some the insurrection, which y'all almost got. You almost won it. So my thing is, y'all just be watchful of these folks because we don't know how low they're gonna go to get what they want to maintain power. That's right. Because they don't have qualified people. Yeah. They never really had qualified people,
and they're coming after different demographics in hopes of like scooping. So I mean, I don't know if you saw like the day of the midterms last month. Like there was a whole campaign geared towards black and brown men. And like when I woke up and I was like, the fuck is this? And then I thought about it and I'm like, oh, they need new demographics. They
need new demo. They need that new demo.
So they're looking for people who are like
teetering on that edge.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, George Santos, like I think he's going to be made to step down, me personally. Just because like even Republicans, right? You lying about 9/11, which is a big thing for them, right? Like, never forget.
I'm surprised why he ain't got chopped because of that.
Yeah. And then I'm like, I'm trying to rile the Jews up a little bit. You heard that man say he was Jewish? Like, I just feel like y'all coming after anybody at this point.
Let's be clear here, and this is my last point on it. This is white male privilege, but being that he's not a white male, he's like he's white. What's the word I'm looking for? Not white mask, but white leaning. I don't know the right. It's a term. He's
adjacent.
He's adjacent. Yeah. He's white male adjacent. So he's a Ted Cruz. He's a Marco Rubio. You know what I'm saying? He's a DeSantis. He has Spanish backgrounds, but very much so white male leanings, and he's hoping that leaning will give him enough privilege to pass by. But the thing about it is, fam,
my boy,
if you were, if you was, all American white male like Trump, making money and this and that, you might have actually got away with a few lies.
But that olive color skin, is giving you away.
Giving you away. It made them even look at you twice.
All right. So next topic is there's a study out that is showing that millennials are literally breaking historic trends by not becoming more conservative as we age. So Boomers, Gen X, the silent generation, like all of them have this interesting trend where they're more liberal when they're younger, and then as they get older they actually turn more conservative. Millennials, the new study shows that we stay just as liberal, if not get deeper into the liberal like mindset as we're getting older. So battery died, fine. But GS and I, who are both millennials, like strong millennials too, like right in the kind of early to mid 30s, are pretty liberal, and I have some conservative fiscal like ideals because I do believe our country fucking wastes money on bullshit all day long. But as far as like social programs and people being able to live their lives the way they want as long as they're not hurting anyone, I've always been okay with that. But I think what this report actually kind of points to more than anything is the fact that millennials have grown up in a very interesting time where we've seen 2 economic crashes now. We've seen climate change. We've seen the Trump era. We've seen the insurrection. Not to mention, we've seen like the decline in your ability to capture the American dream, which our parents told us we should be able to. Go to college, get a good job. You can buy a house, raise a family. And that has proven not to be true for us. So a lot of us are starting to see that like this shit was actually never really set up this way to begin with. And so there's all this like shock and awe around the reports when I feel like millennials are like, yeah, it fucking makes sense. Have you watched what we have seen and what we've lived through our lives? What they gonna be surprised at more than anything is when they do this report on Gen Z who are being raised by millennials. them motherfuckers ain't never gonna be conservative.
They not fucking with none of this.
Ever.
None of this.
So when you said this may be the end of days for the GOP, I actually think that the GOP is in more danger than they even realize, because they know they're losing us. But our kids, our nieces, our nephews, our godkids, hell, our dogs and cats, because a lot of us are fur parents now, are fucking going to be liberal.
Our dogs are liberal, y'all. Our cats, our animals,
I
our
got a
plants.
Republican at my house, though. He think everything belonged to him. And he in everybody business but his own. America.
Look conservative.
I call him America.
Yeah. To that point, I'd actually account it to two things. One, the millennial access to social media.
Okay.
So we have new information now. We getting it instantly. It's free. We're just learning too much about the system to go a specific direction. You know what I'm saying? Like, if this was back in the days, then we'd only get our news from one source, the TV, channel 52, or the morning paper.
That's right.
And that would be it. That would actually encourage a lot of our leanings one way or the other. But now we have way more options. They're trying to ban TikTok, but truth be told, in my opinion, TikTok is what is like converting a lot of millennials, Gen Z, and for sure Gen Zers, to more left leaning ideologies.
100%.
A lot of them have said, will attest to, I didn't know anything about. I remember one saying this. I didn't know anything about the Tulsa race riots until TikTok.
Yes.
Till they saw somebody put together something on TikTok and they watched it. It's like, I had no idea.
And side note, for the creatives that don't think your content is going to pick up, if you are adding value to people's lives by teaching them something or showing them something, keep fucking making content.
Keep making it.
So Gabe, he had this, I'll never forget this analogy you gave. We were at Sandaga at the Juneteenth celebration. I think it was 2020, if I'm not mistaken. And you talked about like throwing darts. And I remember you saying like, yeah, we throwing darts. Some of them are going to miss. Some of them are going to be like outside of the book, but some of them are going to stick. Yeah. And that's the beauty of like doing whatever it is that you're called or chosen to do. Like, if you are a content creator specifically around political, social, cultural issues, keep making that content, because someone will see it who needs to see it. And like, honestly, like, we can genuinely build a better world if we just stay consistent with like throwing those darts.
Absolutely.
I just had to insert that real quick.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And to be even more specific, that analogy had more to do with us targeting congressmen, senators. We're shooting at them, at the people who are making the decisions, and it feels like we're largely missing. But us shooting those darts towards them, what's happening is that it's hitting their wives, it's hitting their children, it's hitting it's hitting some of them, and they can't stop it. So that was one. That's one reason. Social media is one of the reasons as to why they're leaving it. Why they're not growing up and becoming more conservative. The other thing is mental health.
Yes.
A lot of millennials, a lot of Gen Zers were taking mental health a lot more seriously. So because we are taking mental health a lot more seriously, we are abstaining from largely corporate and company interests that push us certain directions. And so because we're not following those directions anymore, our lives are happier, our lives are healthier, because we are choosing to do what makes us feel better versus what's being sold to us. The problem is they have taken the regulations off of these companies. They've taken that off and let them sell us damn near crack, damn near any kind of thing. And what we're realizing is that these companies do not have our best interests in mind. We just talked about unions. We just talked about how the fact that they're overworking and underpaying us. Gen Zers, millennials, we felt the bulk of that the whole time. So here we are. Gen Zers and millennials. This is why we're not leaning. Why we're not growing up and becoming more conservative. That's what's happening.
Yeah. Nah, you were speaking right there, and I 100% agree, especially about the part about like us realizing that corporate isn't as solid as we were taught.
It's not as, what the thing is, we're not our parents in a sense to where our parents told us, our parents used to teach us, or at least push us towards like, you know what, you have to work this, you have to do this. And that's the other part about it, because we're seeing that there is no help for parents. There isn't any real help for people who take on those responsibilities, who get married. We're realizing that they're cutting people's Social Security, they're taking people's pensions. It's a whole circle of things that's causing us to not take any of this any serious. Like, we're not taking it serious no more.
You can't. Like, I mean, call me a socialist and I'll call myself that, but like, I don't think there is any reason for someone to work a full-time job and not be able to afford basic shit in life. But in my opinion, you shouldn't even have to work a full-time job to get basic human rights. Like, I don't understand why people just can't go get their arm set if it's broken. I don't understand why people can't, have like good food in any neighborhood, regardless of where you live.
The Green Route Podcast solidly believes, fundamentally believes that food, clothing, housing,
that's it. Healthcare,
education should be a human right.
Yes,
every one of us should have access to those. Those things. We all should. And
it's not based on where you come from. It doesn't make sense. Like, when I see anybody on the streets, knowing that we have adequate, more than enough housing and food. I think about these fucking grocery stores that throw food out.
With that, then they have the opportunity to give, and it's already been debunked that you will not get sued if you throw it away. It's already out there that you will. So it's just like, clearly these companies, even these grocery store companies, don't give a shit about the homeless.
If I can't sell it,
they'd rather throw
it away.
And that is the wildest shit ever.
I've never understood it. So, like, call me what you want, and it's funny because people be like, "Oh, well, you do well. You wouldn't understand." Like, I grew up poor, number one.
Exactly.
Let's not forget. Like, I'm 73rd and Broadway. Like, my grandma still owns the house. That's where I go when I go back to LA.
Real shit.
We had 2 crack houses on the block. Like, I'm a true crack baby. So yes, I've done well, and opportunity met talent, and I was able to go where I went. But that does not mean that I don't look at the next person who maybe opportunity didn't show up for me. Right. There's a bunch of people who are smarter than me, more talented than me in South Central, who never got the chance, and I can't fathom why they don't deserve the same things that I have. Like, I don't care how much money I make. I don't care how far this show goes. I am still going to believe that every person who is born into this world serves a purpose, and they have value, and they deserve to be treated like a human. And I'm going to end it right there.
Mic drop.
Yeah.
Mic drop. All right, y'all. Quick hits. We're going to start off with quick hits like this. So, first and foremost, Trump taxes. Trump taxes have come out. Come to find out, during his presidency, he did not pay taxes. He paid what?
$750, I believe.
$750, which is nothing.
That's not even rent in America right now.
That's not even rent. So he gloated about, as the president, I'm not going to take a salary, and some fake ideologue of righteousness. So
can I also real quick point out, the president makes what, $400K a year?
I believe so.
We should go on and cap CEO pay at $400K a year.
That's really good. That's a really good idea.
Because this man is man or woman is running a country. Why do you deserve to be paid more than that?
Because, truth be told, if they flipped it and made the president the most, if the president got paid the most, I don't think these companies would get away with as much as they would.
I agree. Because they wouldn't be able to buy a president or Congress
So
we're looking at CEO salary caps. I think that whatever the president makes, there should be a step down. You shouldn't even make $400K.
You should make less.
But anyway, go ahead. Next topic.
What were you about to say about Trump? You hope he gets.
Oh shit! Yeah. So I was saying, I actually kind of hope Trump gets the nomination. But here's why. Because number one, it's going to be entertaining as fuck. Yep. It is going to be a show for America and the world to really like latch on. By the way, if you have not kept up to date on what's going on in Brazil, do know that
Bolsonaro
that they have taken Trump's playbook and replicated.
Ran that bitch.
Oh, I mean, in the end zone. It's a touchdown now.
They got their own far right supporters quoting these same things that they would say here in America. I promise you, if there was a translator, you'd be like, oh, they at a Trump rally. No, they in Brazil saying the same shit. Communism.
Dead ass.
all kind of shit.
They're starting to investigate an attempted coup, a coup that was planned to overturn. It's crazy.
Yeah,
it is nuts. So look out for Brazil as well. But I was saying, like, I think it's going to be really entertaining. But then, like, me and GS do this thing where we go live on election night and we fucking smoke and drink and talk shit with y'all. So I feel like on election night, if Trump is the Republican nominee, it's just going to be a fucking good time that night, regardless of the outcome.
We'll
like,
be entertained.
We might have a little like election party or something, and it's just gonna be a good time.
We'll keep y'all updated.
Yeah, we'll let you know.
All right, the other hit we gonna talk about Tate Andrew Tate.
Whatever that nigga name is.
Andrew Tate. All right, y'all. So as you all know, the online personality that we know him as, he's a businessman. He has cars and all kinds of other things he done bragged about.
33, I hear.
So what ended up 33. So what ended up happening was he had a little online tiff with Greta Thunberg, who is a Earth rights activist, who is a very much so in that field. As we all should be, truth be told, we all should be advocates for the earth. Let's be real. But they went back and forth or whatever. And this fool, in his effort to, one up her, he ordered pizza while he was responding back to her. And come to find out, the label on the pizza was enough for authorities to identify where he was. And they came for his ass for trafficking, rape, all kinds of some crazy ass charges. Yeah. So
the Romanian police needed evidence and proof that he was actually in Romania. He had ordered from a Romanian. It only operates in Romania, a Romanian pizza company. So when they saw the logo, they were like, "Oh shit, he got to be here because of they ain't delivering to Brazil, right?" So yeah, I mean, way to shoot yourself in the foot, my guy.
That was and he walked out and was like, "Oh, the Matrix has got me." No,
this
nigga,
is you
got you.
You did this to yourself.
You got you. The authorities been after you, and truth be told, the authorities been after you, and they wouldn't have found you had you not made that mistake trying to one up a 19-year-old.
That's right. And I mean, the email address that she sent was funny as fuck. Like, she was like, "I got small dick energy.
Small dick energy at Gmail," some shit like that.
That was great. Shout out to that kid, because I just want to
she going places.
Give her a hug or something.
She going places.
Like, what do you do for a teenager? Like, give her a gift card. I don't know.
Last part of the quick hit squad. Benjamin Netanyahu. Recently in Israel, they have just elected their most far right government ever. Yep. So the reasons why it's real bad. One, lawmakers can veto power from their higher court. So that means that even if their higher court is looking out for the human rights of all people, the specific lawmakers can come in and say, "Nah, we're not for that. Yeah, we're not for that." So that's one. Two, they have made it illegal to discriminate against anyone who's gay, LGBTQ. They can discriminate based off of their religious preferences. The third one, and the most harmful one, and I quote, "They're giving Israelis exclusive and inalienable rights to all parts of the land." Yes. Including the West Bank. So we don't know how this is going to play out. Basically, they're saying that if you are an if they consider you, or if you are an Israeli, you have authority and the right over West Bank territory. I don't even know what that's going to look like, where they can just walk in and say, "This is now my house."
I think that's exactly what it's going to look like.
And you can't say shit about it. That's what it sounds like.
Eminent domain is what it gave me.
And my last and only point to, well, go ahead.
Eminent domain is what it gave me. And I kind of had a joke like, does the black Hebrew Israelites also have? But
the Hebrew Israelites, my sister.
I'm a child of Israel.
No, they don't respect you over there.
Yeah,
bro,
you do not have these same rights. If you are part of the black Israelite movement, don't go over there looking to take people's houses,
because they don't care about you. They don't care about the Palestinians. That's not how they don't care if you don't have Israeli blood, full blood. I'm pretty sure full blood,
because the one drop rule probably applies there too.
Probably apply there too. So
and Biden. Can we talk about what Biden?
Say that part.
So Biden cozied up and said, "Congratulations to my longtime friend on his, his returning to his position as prime minister. And GS said something as we were preparing for the show, like, this is literally a political move. This is you saying, like, there is enough coming from Israel that benefits America, and we know it's money. We know it got to do with money. That you are willing to watch the slaughter and watch the mayhem go on over there. The
displacement,
absolutely,
of an entire group of people.
Yep, and still say,
job well done. Great job.
Congratulations,
Look at y'all.
we're
friends. My only thing and my only point to my last point to this is people who have just recently, it hasn't even been a century yet since y'all have dealt with the Holocaust and everything. I don't see how y'all reconcile it there. I don't see how the same Jewish people who could identify the dangerous rhetoric of Kanye West, how they can identify it and be like, this is dangerous, this is bad. That's but right. y'all can't identify what's happening at home. Y'all can't call that out. Like, there have been over 230 something murders this past year, this past year, of Israeli police to Palestinian citizens. Yeah. So they have killed, and it's not just men, women, and children. A lot of children. Matter of fact, there was a journalist who clearly had the label. Was identified as a journalist. Yep. And she was murdered. Yep. Directly. She was shot intentionally.
Okay, so I see it the same way as, like, Americans looking at Ukrainians and saying, "Oh my God, they look like us. They seem like our people. Yes, let's send aid, but we're still fucking bombing Syria and, like, Sudan. You know what I mean? Like,
we're still sending drones out. We still have a history of and there's still no telling what we're doing in South America right now. We're just only seeing the consequences of what we've done there. Yeah. That caravan of people who are leaving those countries. That's what I'm saying. Our hands are dirty. Truth be told, the saying is, before you talk about anybody else, you need to sweep
around your own front door.
Sweep around your own.
Before you try to sweep. I think that was Lee.
all those Jewish American company business owners who want to shit on Kyrie, who want to shit on all these people for their anti-Semitic rhetoric. Just rhetoric. Again, this is just rhetoric. Y'all are not calling out the people who are actually using physical violence against groups in your home country,
who have been there. They knew.
Yep. So even if you disagree that Palestinians shouldn't be there, even if you disagree with that, you do have to know that the war that's happening between them is very much so one-sided. And if you're not willing to identify that, I don't want to hear shit about who you want to cancel here in America for rhetoric. I don't want to hear shit about that, be told.
As a person who rides for black people, black women, if I see a black woman who is being unfair or shitting on another group of people, I'm going to call you out first because I expect more from you. I expect more. Like, I've never understood these people who are willing to, like, sit in silence because that's your comrade. No, you should want the best. I ain't gonna even lie, GS, we do this podcast together, but this is my friend in real life. And if I ever saw him, like, fucking off something that I feel like he should be taking care of, I'm gonna call him on it. Right. And so I've never understood these people who are just like, I ain't
got shit to say about that. Again, we haven't heard any cancellations of it. Honestly, the only thing that I've really seen that I can kind of respect is a lot of there were people who were working for Google who walked out when Google almost sold some online security program to Israel. Okay. They almost I don't even know if that deal even went through, but they was like, no, Israel has been accused of war crimes. Yeah. They've been accused of human rights violations against the Palestinians. Why are we helping them be worse?
Can we circle back around to this is why millennials are staying liberal as we get older? Because I promise you, them people that push back, they are of the age where we're getting these big ridiculous salaries at these tech companies, and you have to choose sometimes between that big crazy ridiculous salary and your fucking morals and the fact that I want to sleep at night. And I feel like I'm almost certain that those were early or mid 30 somethings who were just like, nah, I'm not with this. Because it makes, for me, I left corporate because I wanted to do shit that made a difference.
Right.
And blood on your hands is I'm not part of that. I'm not gonna ever be part of that.
And my last point, even to that point, there, truth be told, there is enough blood on our hands. Like, we are finding out more and more about the shit that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. A lot of us are understanding now how Boeing and how these governmental systems are helping propel the war machine. We're now understanding how Chase and Wells Fargo not only had biddings in the slave trade, but right now they're accused of predatory lending themselves against our own communities. Like, we're learning the shit that we don't even want to be a part, that we're a part of. We're learning that we don't even want to be a part of that.
That's right.
So it's just like it's a gradual dialing back that's happening with us, and for sure conservativeship just reeks of all that negative energy. Conservatism reeks of all that negative energy that we're trying to get away from.
Absolutely. I'm with you.
All right, last topic, but certainly not least. It's out now. It is confirmed that Tory Lanez did indeed fire the weapon that led to Megan being shot.
That's it.
My personal opinion, perspective, I want to say that all the Tory Lanez supporters would have been, let's say the verdict went the other way, they would be on social media going crazy right now. I'm 100% sure that they'd be like, "Oh, you who said that Tory did it? Look, I told you." They coming for the black man, and y'all was helping, and And I want to be very, very careful. Be very, very careful on this. Very, even empathetic in this sense. I do not bask in the imprisonment or the incarceration of any black person.
100%.
Man, woman, or child. No, especially
because we know the background of that. We know the history.
Especially those with children.
Yes.
Because that's time, months, potentially years that you're not gonna get back with your child. So let me say this: I am not happy that I was right.
Yeah. Or
that what I believe to be right came out to be right.
That's right.
I'm not happy about that. That's not a good thing. The audio came out from the call that happened the day after it happened. Yep. And that call affirmed pretty much everything. Mel?
Yeah, I mean, I a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, reached out to me early this morning and was like, "Have you heard the phone call? Have you heard the audio?" And I said, "I don't even know what you're talking about." And she sent it to me, and when I listened to it, I just shared it on my story, and I said, "Good morning," because the green route has been on the right side of this since the whole thing began.
Yeah.
And again, this is not me flexing. This is not us basking in the downfall or the incarceration of a black man. Absolutely not. But just like the conversation we just had about holding one another accountable. Like, I get it. There is shit out here that is trying to take us down at every turn. But it does not mean that we don't have to uphold some standard of ethics and morals for ourselves and hold one another accountable. So when I watched people shit on her and back this man, I was just like, hold on, y'all. Hold on. And then another thing that I want to say as a black woman, and I had this conversation with a friend earlier, because she said it. She was like, had she not changed her story up front, people would have had more trust in what she was saying. And remember, she was saying like, "Oh, here's why I told them that I stepped on glass, because I didn't want the cops to get involved." That is a real thing for black women, especially if you have the interest of protecting black men at the forefront, which a lot of us have been taught to do because we've seen it. I've had LAPD run into my childhood home looking for my uncle who was innocent. I've seen my cousin arrested for jaywalking and had to get bailed out. So as a black woman, like, we do have these like thoughts about, okay, we can just handle it amongst ourselves, but if I get the cops involved, that might mean his life. Because as a woman, there is still a level of privilege I have with the police just because I have a vagina. And I'm 50 feminine presenting, right? There's a certain level of privilege. So as a black woman, you know that. So when Megan said, yeah, I told him I stepped on glass because I didn't want him to get in trouble, immediately I knew what she was saying.
A lot of black women identify with that.
Absolutely. Like, if I call the police on that man, they might shoot him and take his life, and I don't want him to be dead.
Right.
I believe I deserve to be vindicated from what he just did to me?
Am I pissed at him? Am I mad at him? Do I want my big cousin to come and beat his ass?
Absolutely. Should my daddy roll up on him real quick? 100%.
Absolutely.
But do I want this man to be killed? No. And we know that that's what happens sometimes when the police get involved. So I understood, but I think there was a disconnect for a lot of black men who didn't understand why her first story was I stepped on glass. And I want to let you know that, like, because of the way we have seen the men who we love treated, a lot of times we put our own safety, especially when it comes to the police, we put our own safety on the line to make sure that you at least can walk away with your life, and we'll deal with the rest of that shit on the back end.
Right.
We'll do, I'm gonna call my uncle or my cousin.
We can do in-house.
Community policing.
Yeah.
Sure, we'll figure that shit out. So yeah, I wasn't happy to hear it come out, but at least we knew that she had been telling the truth. And I'm gonna tell y'all another thing. There are certain women out here, I know they're problematic, right? Like, you got women who lie on men for their own reasons, but any woman worth her salt is never gonna pull that shit.
Right.
And I've never seen Megan be problematic. That girl has lost her parents, figured out how to create a music career, gone to get her degree, kind of stayed out the way. So when this came out, I was like, she don't even have a history of being in no bullshit.
We said that. You know what's funny? I was when I was editing one of our past videos, we said the same thing. I think so. It's two parts, and these are my only two parts. One, I always tell even my young guys, the guys who I mentor, I always tell them this. I was like, look, one thing we have to be mindful of is that the police, the system, may not work against a Sam Friedman, against a specific mass murderer. They may take them out to go get something to eat. They may. There was a young brother, 13-year-old, who was killed in Ohio a few months ago. And I hate that his name is slipping my mind, but justice for that man. But the person the white man who killed him ended up getting the charges dropped, and then they listed it as a cold case. So at first it was like self-defense. They said my overall point to even mention all that is that we know that the system will work against us and not support us. So as a result, we have to be even more careful about how we conduct ourselves, not only with each other, not only with our women, but everywhere. So it's like we have to be on guard, on point in every possible way. If you are a part of his dialogue with Kelsey, man, I hate that I got that drunk. I hate that I was I drank too much. And it's like, you as a black man we just cannot risk it.
But I'm not, even when I heard that, I was like, it's one thing to blame the liquor, but like, liquor only exasperates what's already there.
No. And sorry, go ahead.
So when in my head, I'm thinking like, you can blame the liquor. Like, all of us lose our inhibitions at times. Like, we go out, we have a good time, you know what I mean? But it's never gotten to the point where we wanted to shoot somebody because we were mad.
Right.
And I'm saying that if you don't do that healing before the drunkenness sets in, that shit is just like on an exponential level by the time you get under the influence, and you don't really have any control.
Well, that was the other part of my point. The other part of my point is this: as a black man, hell, black men and women, we have to understand this point, and we should understand it by now. There are behaviors, there are ways that we view things that are as a result of trauma. Like, we are literally we are healing ourselves.
PTSD.
We are black men and black women, specifically black millennials, for sure. Because we come from that. We're that first generation to actually stand up against these different slave-based ideologies that have been passed down to us. So with that being said, we have a lot of trauma that we've dealt with that's caused us to see things and have certain behaviors. So we have to basically, I hate to quote my fellow Capricorn, my fellow problematic Capricorn.
Who's that?
Tyrese.
I knew you were going to say Tyrese.
We literally have to be not only mindful of all the police, the situations we have to be mindful of ourselves.
Yeah.
We have to be that in tune with ourselves to know that, hey, I'm fucked up in this kind of way.
That's it. And
I cannot put myself in a compromising position or in a position to where I lose sight of that.
And it takes work. It's hard work.
It takes work for sure.
That's thought labor, that's spiritual labor, that's emotional labor. Like you have to sit with yourself and see the trauma. And then figure out, like, why do I feel the way I feel? And I get it. That's uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable. But I'm going to tell you, I became the most free when I sat with the shit from my childhood and from my family and the things that were in me genetically. Like, you know what I mean? Like, some things are not just experiences. Like, a lot of our trauma, it has been proven as black people, if you are the descendant of slaves, that there is genetic trauma literally running through our... Yes, passed down from... It's the reason why we do things the way that we do them. And can we also go to Akon and how he tried to play us? But if you have never been proud to be a black American, do know that there is culture here. And sadly, yes, that culture was born of slavery and our need to survive and our need to figure out how to outsmart these white folks. Sure. But of that has become like this beautiful thing where we laugh our asses off.
This beautiful tapestry.
I call it the beautiful struggle, right? Like, we're still in the beautiful struggle where we have this beautiful culture, but we know where it came from. And there are still remnants of that struggle. So when I saw what was happening here, I'm like, I get it. Right. And literally, it was the managing editor of Dallas Weekly. She reached out to me the other day and was like, yo, you called this before a lot of people. And I was like, sis, this isn't hard to figure out. This is literally our people dealing with the same shit we've been dealing with for decades and centuries now. And I didn't have to be there to know what had gone down, because I understand black women as one, and I understand black men from having great friends like GS and Great Black Century and all these other people who like give me the insight to a psyche of a black man. So no, I wasn't blaming anybody, but I did want us to at least be honest and hold one another accountable about what had happened that night. And if we can't get to the point where we can hold each other accountable, specifically black men, if y'all can't hold one another accountable, we're going to see more situations like this where you end up with egg on your face because you have blamed someone for being the victim. Only to find out.
So my message specifically to black men, to my brother, I'm gonna look into the camera when I say this. I'm looking to this camera. Hopefully it's still going. My message to us is definitely this. Number one, we need to be mindful of our traumas, our experiences and how they play out in our behaviors and our thought processes. Because truth be told, those might be the things that slip us up, even as we're $1 million R&B artists and this that, $1 million athletes, this and that. Our own personal actions as a result of our experiences trip us up. Not a white man, not some black woman lying on us, not any of that. It is us. So we have to hold each other accountable, and we have to be mindful of what we've experienced, and we have to continue to do that work even more than anybody else. So that's number one. And number two, we have to understand this, that if we do fall into that category, that cycle of participating in these problematic, misogynistic, sexist, homophobic behaviors, then guess what? I mean the white judicial incarceration system will identify us as their own because we're acting like we were taught, and they will take us up, but they're not going to treat us like their own. They're just going to identify us as their own and do what they will, and we will have no power over it.
We just repeat that? The system will identify you as their own, as like that own. Right there. If they're in that's slavery, y'all. Like, think about that. Yeah. That's property.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, let's be better. Like, I mean, we had published an article, Black Men in Therapy, and it was more about Takeoff's death and making sure that our black men are getting what they need to deal with difficult situations. But here as well, like, you're arguing with a woman in a car and it leads to you shooting at her. Yeah. And I ain't never been that mad at and thank God, right? Maybe I've just never been in that scenario to be that upset with someone where I felt like I needed to, pull out my weapon and fire at them because of the words that they've said to me. But yeah, like, okay, and I know, Crystal West is one of my favorite podcasters in the world, and I love her. And I know sometimes, like, people compare me to her as far as, like, how I be on the backs of black men, but do know that I do absolutely love black men. Like, some of my favorite people in the world are black men. I just want you all to hold yourself to a certain standard of excellence that I know you can. Mm-hmm. And I get it. It's easy to just let each other slide. Mm-hmm. That shit is easy, but be difficult with each other sometimes. Like, call your bro out, call your cousin out when you see him not acting right, because that as a whole will just help to bring the group up. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't want to be in a room with people who ain't shit. I'd rather be in a room with people who are doing big things and asking me like, hey, what you doing? Right. What's going on with you right now? Right. Because they pull me up. Right. So yeah, like, hold each other accountable and love on each other. Like, go hug your dude. Like, tell him that you love him. Like, that's okay.
And to that, even to that point, another point that I'm gonna make, and this is me in the future, looking into the future. We appreciate all the black women who for sure stand by our side, who are there, who are present, who are there to even hold us accountable, because sometimes ass whoopings ain't meant to feel good. But sometimes, some of us need our ass whooped. Yeah. Touche. That's for sure. But I'll say this, that when black men wake up, when we wake up, I think that's the part that we don't think about as much, or we don't really put a lot of energy towards. But when we wake up and when we realize how we can make our lives better, everyone that's connected to us will automatically become better.
100%.
Every situation that we're about will automatically become better. Yep. It's just will. It's just I'm waiting for that day to where that switch flips. Yep. And we realize that, you know what, all these self-harming behaviors, these self-harming thoughts that really don't add up to shit. We sitting up here thinking we standing on something, but really the shit that we standing on it's just that. Just some shit. Yeah. It ain't a solid foundation. But once we kind of come to understand the true values, the true essence of being a black man, and the strength that lies in that, and how we can use that in some powerful ways. The brilliance, the creativity. Because it's already been used. Yep. We have plenty of examples of it. But when we finally get to that point, it's going to be a beautiful day.
It's going to be a renaissance. And I'm waiting for it. Because black women, we're having ours now. Yeah. And it's a beautiful thing to be a part of. It's a beautiful thing to watch. But I do feel like that because of that renaissance, black men feel like they're being left behind. And I think that's where a lot of the animosity between the two groups come. But literally, there are black women like me who are just waiting like, when y'all gonna have y'all? And when you do, and black men, there is a reason why the GOP is giving,
it's targeting us.
It's targeting you on the day of elections. Like, they see this, they see the patterns, they see the psyche. Resist that shit. Read books, meditate, deal with your own feelings.
And let me also add this part to it. I will say this, that there is a consistent false narrative against us, that we're not working towards healing ourselves, that we're not working towards educating ourselves. There is a general false narrative that isn't happening, and it's like, truth be told, it is happening. Like, we talk about the absent black father and all that, and it's like the majority of black men that we know, that we connected to, are actually in the lives of their children. So it's like, black men, what we have to fight against are those false narratives. And the way that we fight against them is by, one, being vocal of the bullshit, but also standing there, being present there, doing the things that we need to do. So all the brothers who are doing it, which there is a growing amount of brothers that are on this path of healing, keep going.
I will say one thing about the whole Akon thing, because he was like, you know, that's white people shit when he was talking about, like, you know, if you have all these kids, some of your kids are going to miss out on your presence, right? What about the recital? And he was like, you know, I ain't worried about no recital. You know, there's bigger things to do.
Because he got 1,000 kids, right?
Oh, yeah. Because he was defending Nick Cannon. So when I tell you, I got on social media and I was so proud to see black men saying, nah, fuck all that. We love a good recital over here. Shit, exactly. I'm part of the dance team. Exactly. My baby know, like, you know, if she need a ballerina, sign me up. Stand in, we there. And it was so beautiful to see these pictures, specifically of black men with little black girls. Mm-hmm. Because I know a lot of times we have this thing like, oh, I want a boy, but I love to see like the girl dad thing that I think Kobe kind of started.
Look, I want a little girl.
She'd be a beast if you had a little. Number one, she had you wrap around her finger, but she'd be a beast if you had a little girl. I can see that right now. I can see that.
And I'm glad you brought that point up, because truth be told, with Akon making statements about black entertainers versus African entertainers, he was definitely off key.
Out of line.
For sure.
Out of line.
So that's one part of it. And truth be told, again, my grandma used to say, with the devil, if you know you throw a blanket on him, you hide his horns, his tail gonna show. You hide his tail, his feet gonna show. So that's not the analogy for this one. Just to be specific.
But I like that though. Thank you, Grandma.
The specific analogy just has more to do with the fact that if you're wrong in one area, you probably wrong in another. So it makes sense as to why he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm miss a recital." Like, no, nigga, don't miss nothing. Like we should actually be remorseful when we miss things that our children are a part of.
That's right.
We should not want to miss anything.
Recital. I don't care if it's a teacher-parent conference.
But again,
show up.
But again, it goes to show that you can be talented in one area and be completely stupid and inept in another area. Yeah. So that's that.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's what we got for today.
This is a full but good.
This was a good episode.
This is a good episode. It was still recording on that one. This is still recording.
So no, it turned off.
It turned off. That's fine. It's cool. It's cool.
Battery again, though.
But yeah, y'all. So thank y'all for rocking with us. Let me go ahead and check in real quick. Mm-hmm. How are you doing? How are you feeling?
I'm good. I'm excited about 2023 and everything that is going to bring, everything that it's going to remove. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't have any. I don't do New Year's resolutions.
You don't do New Year's resolutions? I always do them. I ain't gonna lie, I do them.
Nah, because I feel like if I truly want to change something, I'll do it right then. Nah, I don't have to wait for the new year to eat right or exercise or.
That's true, but I'm more of a symbolic kind of person, so sometimes it's a good start. It's a good start.
Yeah, you know, so. I don't know. I feel like, you know,
you like that shit. You're like, I ain't did it now. It ain't gonna happen.
If I wake up and don't like the way I look, like, okay, let me figure out how to get that right. So yeah, I don't really do New Year's resolutions, but just excited about just the new year. Like, you know, relationships that will develop, relationships that will grow, relationships that will end.
That will end.
And I think for the last few episodes, we've kind of been talking about, like, you know, this newfound focus I feel like both of us have. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, just really excited about the green route and everything that we can give y'all. Like, I left corporate after 15 years to build this with my friend here. And y'all have showed love, especially on TikTok, so thank you. Mm-hmm. And I just feel like, you know, between feeling like I'm in the right place doing what I'm supposed to be doing, plus all of the external folks, like, yeah, y'all got something special. Like, you know, I want to be part of that. I feel like we're doing a good thing. So just looking forward to 2023, putting more good information out, making sure that the people are aware of what's going on. And I had somebody tell me, it was actually B Nation, who runs a podcast here in Dallas, but she was saying that shout out to B Nation. So the reason that she likes what we do is because it doesn't lean Democratic or Republican. She's like, y'all just giving the facts. Like, anybody can get it.
Right.
You know, you're not like the news where depending on who you're watching, that's whose agenda is being pushed. And so I feel like when we say free press and, you know, like free media, like that's what we're building here. So I'm excited about that. Like, I I don't identify Democratic or Republican, me personally. Like, I may vote one way or the other, but I just want people to have good information so you can decide what's best for your life and your family. So I'm excited about 2023 and being able to do that. And I don't know, I might have a little boo in the future. We'll see. I've been single for a minute.
Okay.
So we checking in on that.
That's a way to end your chicken.
You know, if the universe has a decent intellectual, you know, on the way.
Okay.
I'll welcome that, but if not, I'll be at the house whipping work.
It sounds like your eyes and ears and nose open for it.
Not nose. Nose, because that was a bad thing, growing up. Right. Oh, that girl nose wide open.
That's true. We gonna scratch, and then people be doing coke and shit. So we gonna take.
Yeah, we're not doing that over here.
We're gonna take the nose part out.
We're not doing that.
But your heart is open. Your heart is open.
I think like the podcast turned 30 today. Mm-hmm. At 34, I've had my fun.
Right.
And so I'm like, okay, we'll see. But if 2023 doesn't bring that, the show will keep me busy.
It will. Yeah. It will bring you that. It will bring you that.
Well, we'll see. We're going to see. What about you? How are you?
You know how, you think you're doing good? You think you're doing good, and then you get to a good place, and you realize when you thought you was doing good, you was just like, all right. So recently, I have just, I don't know, it's just these last few weeks have just been so many different understandings, so many different epiphanies, and it's like I am for sure now realizing that I thought I was good back then, but I really wasn't.
Okay.
Like when I was, I'm good. I was alright. At best, I was alright.
Yeah.
Now, I'm a little better than alright. For sure. I'm a little better than alright. But I can definitely see the light. I can now see the light in my business, in the Green Route podcast.
Yeah.
I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Like now, I think I needed for things to happen. I needed for me to just kind of come to some realizations, some understandings, and shout out to everybody who's been on that journey with me, because whether you've done things I want you to do or not want you to do or not want it, it doesn't matter, because you've been a part of it, pushing me where I need to be. So I appreciate both sides of it.
Beautiful.
People who've done things that I like, people who did things I didn't like. I appreciate it, because I am just, I don't know, things that I'm grateful for. I'm just grateful for my mindset in terms of the lessons that I have been learning, because these lessons have been very valuable.
Good.
Very valuable.
I love that.
They're invaluable, as a matter of fact. And don't get me wrong, I want to take a break from learning lists. I want to take a break.
I'm not your strongest soldier.
I want to take a small break, but you know what? If I gotta keep learning, I'm gonna keep on learning. Because truth be told, is one or the other. Either you're learning or you earning. So,
but that's the thought labor we talked about, right? Like the fact that you have lessons and you think through, like, okay, what did I get from this situation? That right there is gold.
Yes.
You have people who keep experiencing the same thing and they never sit to think, like, why did this happen to me again? Like, what was it? So the fact that you even learning your lessons, I think that's the beauty of it.
That has been the beautiful struggle for me.
Yeah.
All right.
I love it. All right. Benediction.
All right. So we have learned time and time again that the entities that we depend on are not looking out for us. They're looking out for themselves. They want stock buybacks. They want to build themselves up at our expense, and they don't realize that this mountain that they're building is a mountain of folly. That's some church stuff. Folly. But the thing is, if we can sift through the lies, if we can sift through the lies,
yes, Lord,
of these individuals, then we will come out to be better people as a people, and we will no longer lean in a direction that our predecessors used to, like our ancestors used to. We now have learned about the corporations that are full of shit. We've learned about the people that are full of shit, and now we don't have to go that direction anymore. So we have thought leaders who are being caught up in their own demise with pizza boxes and and far right leanings. We're very much so aware of all those people, and we need to be grateful for those people because they're only showing us the path that we should be on.
Yeah.
Because, truth be told, we know the path, or at least we're somewhat aware of it. But the thing about it is, once we realize that the only people that can take us off that path is ourselves. Mm-hmm. So,
amen.
We have to not be our stumbling block.
Ashe.
So let us not be our own stumbling block.
Not let us not. Did you go old English?
Let us not be our own stumbling block at the expense of black women, at the expense of our own careers. Mm-hmm. Let us not do that. Let us think. Let us be bold. Let us be better. So
that's it. All right. Well, that's episode 30, y'all. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year's.
Wishing everyone who rocks with us, and if you don't fuck with us, we still gonna wish you the best.
We still want the best for you.
And we'll see you in 2023. Y'all be safe. Please be safe out there. You know how it gets on New Year's Eve.
Enjoy your New Year's Eve. Be safe. All of that.
All right. We'll see you in 2023, my dears.
We'll see y'all. Peace.
All right. Later.
Sunshine, sunshine, tell me where you are.